Hello.
Hello, one and all. Hello. I hope we're all doing well. The latest news this week is James got a flat tire.
James, go.
I got a flat tire on my girlfriend's car, and only realised when I got to Forest Schools at like 8:15 this morning or whatever it was. So I was like, oh no, what do I do? So the girlfriend, she rung the AA for me. And just got it sorted, which was, I thought, was very nice of her. It was ever so pleasant. So it's just the three of us today. Charlotte is indisposed and AO is indisposed. But yeah, let's go around and see how are we. Richard, how's your weekend been? What have you been up to?
Celebrating. I have passed my GCSEs, so I'm now confirmed that I've got college next year.
You're confirmed.
Yeah.
So they've actually let you go. Well, be there basically, haven't they? So
yeah,
they've said, yeah, it's okay, you can stay. We like you. That's fine. That's really good news. Did anything else happening? Was there anything else interesting happening?
Not really.
No, just that.
No. Really haven't done much this past month.
No, you haven't been. You didn't go to the cinema over the weekend or anything?
No. I might be going next week.
What are you going to go see?
Free Guy.
Ah, excellent. I really like. I really like the look of that film. Actually, I really want to see it. Right, Owen. What about you? What have you been up to over the weekend?
Came back home, so as you can tell, I'm back in my own room now. Literally maybe about an hour or so ago, I got my second vaccination jab, so my arm is dead as hell. And yeah, it's been a bit of a quieter weekend than it was last weekend when I got the giant Thanos.
Right, you got giant Thanos, the giant Thanos that you spent how much money on?
I'm not too sure on the top of my head. I know we used 2 20-quid notes to do it.
Jeez.
Wow. Right, well, Connor's happy with that. Whoop, whoop.
Connor.
And as you can see, like Connor's with a couple of his mates. One I know, Yam. So they like giant things as well, apparently, because those giant bananas. So yeah,
they got giant bananas. I can get my giant Thanos again in a minute.
yeah. Show him your giant Thanos. Yeah, grab it now. Let's show Connor your giant Thanos. It's all sweet and innocent, Connor. Honestly.
Yeah, it is. He's great. Here he is.
it's just
giant baby Thanos.
Spent so much money to win it. It's just mad.
Damn you.
The massive head on the small body gets me.
Yeah,
it is weird.
He makes it look like he's a giant head minion.
He does. Connor has asked, "What's a Thanos?" So Thanos is like a big villain in the Marvel universe. Connor, and hello Charlotte, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. So if anyone else wants to say hi or join in the conversation as we have it, we're going to be talking a little bit about the situation in Afghanistan, which with context, the war has been going on as long as Owen and Richard have been alive, so you probably I don't know how important it is to you really. But there are some scenes from Afghanistan coming out with the Taliban taking over. But then we're also going to talk about, hello, Chris. How are you? I hope you're doing well. We're also going to be talking about the Northampton Pride Festival, which is geared up for next month. But also there's been a rise in cases of eating disorders in Northampton. So we'll just touch on that briefly as well. So, I mean, we might as well just get right into it. So Afghanistan. So neither one of you really knows what's going on, do you?
I'm guessing it's sort of like the act of terror is roughly in that general area, and it's just been a constant thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I said, so Afghanistan has basically been under kind of the rule of the UK and coalition forces, like military forces, for like 20 years. right?
Yeah, well, the same
Which
age
is
as
obviously
me, so
you're the same age as you, Owen, right? And Richard, obviously, you're 17 now. So as long as you guys have been alive, there's been coalition troops in Afghanistan. And what was basically happening was the Taliban, I mean, you've heard of the two towers, 9/11, haven't you?
yeah.
Yeah. So the Taliban were the terrorist organization that claimed to have done that. So the USA and the UK as a coalition force basically invaded Afghanistan and blah 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 blah. All this loads of stuff happened, but it's obviously a lot more complicated than that, and it's very big to get into. I'd reckon I'd have to sit you both down and make a massive like this happened and then this happened and then this happened, but this thing happened over here. It's very complicated, and then like it's a bit too much. But basically, there was an interim government that have been in power. The USA and UK have basically pulled out all their forces, having trained the new Afghanistan government to take over, giving them weapons, giving them the means to do it, right? And under this new, the coalition government, obviously they got a lot more Western rights. So when you see kind of in certain areas of Islam, the full burqa and all that kind of stuff. So that's a very big thing in Afghanistan under the Taliban, right? But the Taliban are also pretty bad with it. So they've done revenge killings against people that have worked for the Afghanistan government. They've also done forced marriages for women. So they are really the bad guys in this situation. So what's happened is the USA, the UK have pulled out, and the Taliban have literally just walked across Afghanistan and taken over pretty much every city, and walked into the capital. A lot of the regional capitals, but without even a shot being fired. Like the local police and stuff just surrendered to the Taliban. So this has led to people fleeing Afghanistan. And I just want to show you this video of what's been happening. Right, yeah. So I just wanted to show you that. Right, Richard, what are your initial thoughts upon seeing that? What does that make you think?
I'm just trying to figure out what a Taliban is first. I should have asked before.
You're trying to work out what? Where? Sorry, say again. You just broke up a little bit from the Taliban. So the Taliban are a terrorist organization, and they were mainly based from Afghanistan, but also the history of the Taliban is that they were supplied by the United States government during the Cold War as well to fight against the Russians. Because here's a fact for you about Afghanistan, right? In all recorded history, right, that we've got, Afghanistan has never been successfully invaded by anybody. So that includes Alexander the Great, who was before Roman times, and all the way through history. And the most recent ones being the British invaded Afghanistan, like 100 years ago or whatever. And then we had the Cold War. Do you know what the Cold War is between east and west. So it was like Russia versus the USA. It was like, building lots of nuclear missiles. And Russia invaded Afghanistan and didn't succeed in that invasion. And most recently, in 20 years ago, the USA and the UK re-invaded Afghanistan, and they've just got it back because the people there just fight everybody off, from what we can gather. So that's the Taliban as well. Like, they're just a terrorist organization. So these people appear to be fleeing Afghanistan to get away from the Taliban. So, and obviously you heard some gunfire in the background. So what do you think about that vision? What does it make you think about?
I really don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Well, Leanne's come on. So imagine being a woman in Afghanistan now.
Really?
So, I mean, the Taliban, as I said about the Taliban, forced marriages with Taliban fighters and young girls, not just women, but young girls. It's very dangerous. Unless women cover up completely, they get beaten and sometimes killed. So they're quite, they're religious extremists, really. In a lot of ways, but also in some ways, these people that are fleeing Afghanistan have been told by a lot of Taliban fighters, no, stay, continue going to work. It's fine. We just want to take over and rule the government, rule the country. Owen, you want to add anything? What does it make you think?
It just kind of.
So I've picked a very difficult subject for you both.
James, you tend to do this a lot. Give us really difficult questions and topics to talk about. Jesus Christ!
Just get your brains going.
Yeah, you're getting the cogs working in the parts of the brain that I particularly don't want to be cogs. And let me say, the cobwebs are starting to stick. I just don't understand why there's not been a successful invasion of it, because obviously there are such as greenlit areas that people like invaders can only go to because they're only greenlit allowed to be there. Any more further could be an act of or declare of war, and they don't want to prevent that. I know those sort of protocols, but sometimes you might think, why not just break those protocols if they really truly think that there's something gonna happen? Because they've been, the US and the UK have been trying to pull out of Afghanistan for how long now? About 5-6 years? They've been slowly doing it.
Longer in a lot of cases. I mean, I remember the protests about not going to war. I mean, before you guys were born. I mean, indeed, I was actually I almost went to one of those protests because I didn't believe in the war. I didn't believe it was right at the time. So yeah, it's difficult. I'm just going to say, so we've got a few hellos. So hello, Loz and Simon. Hello. I mean, just to add to it, so Leanne, if the Taliban were in control here, let's just put it into context. So Leanne she'd have to give up her job. Okay. So women would not go to work. They would never leave the house unless they were chaperoned. Men would have to have full-blown beards, which means I'm fine. You two, however, sorry. There's all these extra rules that go with it's called a theocracy, which is like a government ruled by religion. Okay. And yeah, it's just all a bit up in the air, really. So Connor has put in the videos shown of the runway, it's all men. What's happened to the women and children? Did either of you notice that?
No, I didn't notice. I was just more concerned about how many people there were, to be honest.
Because there are an awful lot, aren't there?
There was a lot of people.
awful lot.
Oh yeah.
And the acts of what they're doing, I was just more concentrated on that. Like, are you getting it up again? Oh no.
So this is a different one. So in answer to Connor's point as well. So in this picture, yes, it is majoritively men, but there are women and children on. This is one of the airplanes, like the US airplanes. But to kind of answer that, Connor, from what I've read, obviously this is kind of what I've been able to read so far, is the reason why it's a lot of young men is because the people fleeing worked for the Afghanistan government. And the Taliban have already put to death people that they see as traitors having worked for the government. So these young men generally have been in those roles where they work for the government. So it's like they're fleeing for their lives. And Simon's put in a good point. Pretty much everyone who has ever helped the US or the UK would be seen as an enemy to the Taliban. So they would be targets for the new power. So, I mean, do you know how, what kind of people would have helped the US and UK? Have you got any ideas who they are, Richard or Owen? I'm just making your brains work. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I would say, like the allies, like the close allies. So like France.
No. People who live in Afghanistan. So they're the ones that are fleeing. So what jobs do you think they would have had to now, if they've helped the US or the UK?
Maybe spies, maybe political news reporters. I'm sorry, spies.
Yes, spies. 1 second.
As I said, like, oh, okay. Well, I'll just carry on, but it's like news reporters, documentation creators about what's going on.
Yeah.
I would say anyone that is giving information or in-depth involvement of what's happened to people to get awareness of it.
Yeah.
Just anyone that is just saying what they need to say, because the Taliban have been preventing them from saying it. Like, I don't know. I'm not exactly too sure if anyone from the Taliban has decided, like, okay, you know what, this has gone too far. This has gone very off, and left and told people what's going on in there and how they can deal with it, maybe. So obviously, in the Taliban's ways, that's a proper traitor, a person that was once them, now isn't.
Yeah.
So those type of jobs.
I mean, there's some other simpler jobs as well, which Loz has put in. So an interpreter. So anyone that has acted as an interpreter for what's called as the Allies could be seen as the enemy. So Chris has put it's a modern day Saigon with everyone fleeing. Unfortunately, these guys wouldn't know about Saigon. What are you saying, Richard?
I'm gonna leave quickly. My internet's playing up, so I'm gonna restart my router.
Okay, no worries, no problem. We'll let you on your second.
See you in
a bit. So Loz has also said people who teach British the customs of Afghanistan. And then Simon's added there's a lot more mundane things, to be honest. So interpreters, guides, maintenance people at their bases, cleaners. Because if you work on one of the Allied bases, or even people who had shops that serve Westerners could be a target. So it's actually a lot more wider ranging, and that's why we've got all these images of so many people fleeing, because you still got, despite in Afghanistan there being a real push for women having rights. There's like, I think it was 3 or 4 women in the Afghanistan government before the Taliban kind of came in. But obviously, under the Taliban, they would never be allowed to be in office, like ever.
No, they would be immediately thrown out, or maybe even worse. But I don't want to think that.
Yeah, and here's another good one. Taliban is so against female empowerment that can be as simple as girls who go to school will be targeted. So which is true as well. So I mean, now the reason I was a bit reticent to actually talk about this, Owen, with you and Richard, because I don't know whether it's because of my age, because obviously I lived through it, right? So I recognise this as a big change. It's important to me, right? Whereas you just live with it. It's just normal to you. So would you really notice what's going on? I don't know. Do you think that's true with some young people, because you've lived it? You don't know any better or any worse. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think that's very, very true.
Yeah,
because that's very. As much as I was born in 2001, I don't like to say this. The act of sort of terror in Afghanistan started just at the end of 2001 during the effects of 9/11. I don't like to say this, but I think to myself that I sort of have a little bit of maybe of living before that happened, but I can't remember that, so I can't exactly say have. But I know that a lot of children who are born roughly now, or even just beforehand, have been through all of this, and they wouldn't notice a thing. Because obviously, yeah, they'll think, oh, that's happening right now. Okay, I'm not leaning about it. But if they learned it like how you learned it, like, okay, we're going to war to this country, and then everyone protests about it or is with or against it, that could be a completely different turning point because you've had to deal with it. Now you're dealing with it. Now it's coming to an end. It's another turning point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very complicated thing. I mean, I think there's so I'm sorry, a load of people have put some extra comments in.
Brilliant.
So I'm just going to go through them. So where was it? So Loz has put in. So when we pulled out of Afghanistan, the British took 12 months to teach. So we ended up being teachers for the local Afghan like police force and stuff. Okay, and this is a very good point. When the Americans did it, they left in 2 months. So
depending on when did they leave? Let me guess. When
like last week. I mean,
Loz, do you mind just checking off when did the US leave and when did the British leave? Just depending.
Yeah,
I just generally want to know if that's all right.
Yeah, like the difference between it, which is fine. Oh, hello, David. Sorry, I'll get to your point in a second. So I feel like the way the Americans have left is a bit like, right? It's a bit like me coming to your house, Owen, for a party, right? And I'm there literally half an hour. And whilst I'm there, I eat all your food, I drink all your stuff, I smash up your toilet, and then I go, bye. Like,
not my toilet.
Just smash it up. There you go. I turn off your electricity.
Well, if you clog the toilet, that would be a different problem. But smash it up as well. Come on.
I kind of feel that's how the Americans have left. Oh, Chris, go off the girls to bed. Thank you very much. Here's Richard back. So yeah, so Loza said it's 2020 officially. Officially, and British outward 2014. It seems a lot. It doesn't seem that long ago, Loz. That's maybe because of our age.
No, it is very long ago, to be honest.
So Loz has got like the Afghan army and police are Taliban spies hidden their recruitment. David, I guess the Afghan football stadium that was given to the people many years ago will be back as an execution venue again, because that actually happened. They actually used the football stadium as an execution venue. Really sad. So some other numbers. Currently 600 British troops are on the ground, so they're helping evacuate people. But 13,000 troops are mobilizing to go in to help with the evacuation.
Just the evacuation.
Another example. Yeah, just the evacuation. So it's needed because there's still British nationals in Afghanistan. So I don't think they're all out yet. Connor's put in, it's one of the first things he can remember happening because he's not much older than you. No, to be honest.
No, I'm guessing Connor's about what, 22 years old, maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I see, Connor. That's why I owned your favourite. Somalia Yousafzai, I think, is the famous Afghan girl who was shot by the Taliban just for going to school. So they shot her in the head, from what I remember. So the Taliban are pretty bad. So British out in 2014, combat operations and training. Fighting in 2014. We've been training local forces for years. We stopped fighting in 2014. Right? So the Taliban are pretty bad. All right. So I'm going to ask you both a really, really big question here.
There we go.
Okay? Really big. Really big. So you've seen that video of people fleeing and trying to get on any airplane to get out because they might have just been working with the Allies or the Afghanistan government. What do you think we should do to help?
Okay. I'm gonna have to speak, aren't I? Well, we pulled out in 2014, and from what we got from Loz, thank you, the US came out in 2020.
Officially,
Ever since
apparently.
officially, then, soon as they came out, the Taliban have just walked in. So when they were there, they had a clashing wall. They couldn't proceed, neither could the other side. I think because of how serious this has become, as much as I don't particularly like gun violence myself, I'm an anti-gun person. I'm more of, if you have the capability of using a taser to incapacitate someone, to put them into cuffs, use it. But I would say you might need to consider sending back in the troops to take control of the situation, not just for the evacuation, to actually go against the Taliban this time. Do everything they can to prevent war, but as much of military force as possible to get them back under the control, because if the Taliban just walked in and this is what they'd caused for people to flee, it's dangerous for them, but also dangerous on getting themselves out, because they could get themselves in a massive panic, and when they're panicking, their mind don't think straight.
Yeah.
So as much as I'm against gun violence, you might need to send the army back in.
Well, they are about to send the army back in. Richard, what do you think? Oh no! Sorry. Carry on, Owen. Carry on.
You just mentioned you said that they were going to send back the army, but that's only for the evacuation, not for going against them. That's the thing.
Not for a military force. Yeah.
They need to send them back for a military force. That's just me.
Okay, that's fine. So Richard, the question was, after seeing all these videos and knowing that all these people are wanting to flee, what do you think we should do about it? It's a very broad question.
Yeah. Also, sorry about the internet.
That's all right. It's fine.
My computer doesn't like using StreamYard. Just gonna I think I'm gonna have to go with Owen and send people in to try and help.
What do you think? What do you think about all these people on the airplane, though? What do you think we should do with them? Should we just take them somewhere else? Where should we take them? What should we do with them?
I don't know.
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people trying to escape. I don't know how big the population would have been normally in Afghanistan, but that amount of mass people separating into other places, it's going to be difficult to find places for them. I think a lot of people think that they've got to all go to the same place. They've all got to go to, say, the UK, for instance. They've all got to go there to be safe. But maybe they need to consider the fact that they need to not separate families, but broaden the amount of places that they can go, so that they don't overcrowd places. Yeah. Because we don't want to have more and more like little tent-up camps now and there in just one country. Just if other countries are, I'm not sure if they are willing to, but if they are willing to do that, just to help the situation, because as soon as those people are out there, who knows what the Taliban could do in that country, in Afghanistan. And if it's just them in Afghanistan, that's isolating them themselves.
Yeah. So Loz, I'm gonna bring up a few of your points. Yeah, there's one I'm not gonna bring up. But I think Loz has brought up I'm going to do your last point first, Loz. So if they have helped the British, we have a duty to help. If they are Afghans just escaping war, we shouldn't help. But, I mean, where do you draw the line? So if they've helped the British, help what? So what? An interpreter is allowed, but someone that cleaned a military base for 5 years isn't? What? Where do you think we should draw the line, Owen and Richard? What class is help?
I've spoke the majority of the time, so Richard, you have a go for this one.
Cheers, Owen. Cheers. Get them out of where they are now. Help them stay safe. But
who is eligible? So, because Loz has said if they've helped the British, we help them. But if they're just trying to escape a war, we leave them be. Which it seems is a bit harsh under my sentimentalities, but you know, mine and Loz's kind of political leanings are different. Should we say?
Yeah, you're the red line, he's the blue line, and at the moment they clash together to make yellow sparks, like Star Wars. I just picture you and I just picture you two doing the classic Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader in the Bespin fight in Empire Strikes Back. Just you and Loz. Just
Loz, do you know what? I don't. That's one of the best kind of ideas I've ever heard for what me and Loz can do. I love it. We shall see if we can make that real. Yeah. So Richard,
put it on here.
Yeah, put it on here. So who should we help? Who classes like helping the British that we should help back?
I'll say essential workers.
Essential workers. So going by our definition of an essential worker, right? So that's anybody that works in a supermarket, is it? Or are they just essential workers under a pandemic?
I'll say they're essential workers under a pandemic.
Under a pandemic. So what would count? What would count as an essential worker for now fleeing the situation? I mean, it's a bit more of a difficult one.
Yeah. Probably an educator.
These guys difficult questions.
They are difficult questions. Yeah.
I'm just going to say educational teacher.
Yeah.
Teacher.
So teachers.
Teachers.
So someone. So say if that was someone that was teaching our soldiers how to speak Afghan, or interpreters, would you say we should offer them help?
Yes, because if they can speak different languages, or especially the language of the country they are in, it makes it much more easier of communication between who to help and what not to help and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So, but I'm also talking about like normal school children teachers as well, because they're going to be teaching them the right to morals against what the Taliban have been doing. So they'll teach them the right way. So in that case, teachers for military and interpreters, but also educational school teachers.
Yeah. Educational school teachers. All right. So I think we've got a general idea. I just want to come back to some of the points. Right. So Kevin is on. I think we have given them a Western ideology for the past 20 years. It seems a bit harsh for us not to help them. Because that is true. So we've given them this whole idea of what a Western life can be like, and then we've let these religious extremists just walk in and go, no, you're not having that anymore. Bang, shoot in the head, which is really bad, obviously. But then Kevin has upended that by, however, maybe the West should also not try to push our ideology in non-Western countries. Do you think that's a problem with us in the West? Do we go, we know what's best for you? Yeah, this is what you do. Like throw our weight around a little bit.
Have we been in that situation before?
What, the British? Oh yeah, definitely.
Well,
historically, yes.
Historically,
yes.
Historically, every single country has done what the Taliban are doing currently right now. However, due to the modernization of the world and how we have also evolved more into this 21st century, we've all classified ourselves as growing up, where we know that some things are definitely wrong compared to what you don't walk into the middle of Times Square in London and watch a public hanging for entertainment now, do you? That's completely out of context. People would disown that completely because it's wrong, but yet the Taliban still do that. And
they do.
So if you think of it as those two examples, what do you think is the most bad thing? What they're doing?
It's difficult. I mean, right. So Lawrence says
it's so difficult.
It is difficult. So Lawrence has said, like, we should definitely help interpreters. Great. We had burger vans and pizza houses out there, non-essential. Cleaners, non-essential. Those who fed intel and risked their family to inform the Brits of risk and danger, bring them home. Okay, so he's got a very clear line. But I want to I want to come back to one of your early points in a bit, Loz. So Loz has said they need a flag. They tee a flag and cricket, lol. That's how we claimed country. Do you have a flag? Now, I want to add a little bit of humour to this conversation we're having before we go back to one of your earlier points, Loz. Do either one of you know who Eddie Izzard is? As a comedian.
The name rings a bell to me, but I probably don't know much about him. But it's just the name I recognise.
I don't.
So you don't, right? So what I'm going to do is I just want to share. He does a sketch which is about having a flag, okay, and how Western countries basically claim. Have to wait.
The other thing I like about StreamYard is that if there's
Isn't it weird that we got an advert for StreamYard and we're using StreamYard?
We're using
How
it right
cool
now.
is that? Using it right now, right?
It kind of feels like you've just got yourself another leaflet from Forest School for your front door.
I really have, haven't I?
That's what this is.
All countries. That's what you do. That's how you build.
Right. So he's talking about the British Empire and how we steal countries. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know this guy.
Stole countries with the cunning use of flags. Yeah. You just sail around the world and stick a flag in. I claim India for Britain. And they go, you can't claim us. We live here. 500 million of us. Do you have a flag? We don't need a bloody flag. It's our country, you bastard. No flag, no
Yikes.
I forgot there was a little bit of swearing in it, but never mind. We'll let that one slide.
You can't
Well,
have
that was like,
That's the rules that I've just made up. I'm backing it up with this gun that was lent from the National Rifle Association. That's it, you know. And Queen Victoria became Empress of India. She never even fucking went there, you know?
Right, we'll stop that one there because I forgot how much swearing was involved. But I highly recommend going to watch Eddie Izzard, right? Okay. So I just want to go back to one of Lawrence's earlier points because this is something I've got very strong feelings about. But I probably guarantee you guys wouldn't really know anything about it. So we're talking about bringing people out of Afghanistan to save them. Okay. So Lars has got a point there. So we don't even help the Gurkhas. How can we start helping non-military staff from Afghanistan? So do you guys know who the Gurkhas are? Have you ever heard of them?
no.
No. So I mean, Lars, I think me and you are very much on this same line here about. So the Gurkhas basically fought for the British Armed Forces since World War II, right? Historically, in World War II, they were one of the most feared combat units that fought against the Germans. The Germans were scared of them, right? Yeah, the Nazi Germans. But this is a case that across our armed forces, we allow Commonwealth citizens, as they're called, to join our armed forces. But with the Gurkhas, after they've done their military service, they're not allowed to settle here. So their class is not being part of this country. So Lawrence has got, we only allow Fijians to stay because they play rugby sevens for the army. So, but the Gurkhas, who've got this like 60-year, right, historical military service, or even longer with the UK, are not allowed to settle here. And I've got very strong feelings about it, as has Lawrence. But if you've not even heard of them, perhaps we should have a chat about it on Free2talk TV. What do you reckon? We'll kind of have a general idea about the military and stuff. What do you think about that? Would you be interested in that?
Yeah, a little bit of like common history about the war, like World War II, and who's helped us and all that, and how they've now evolved from that. Because we all know about how we evolved and some other key people evolved, but not other little smaller countries that have helped.
So I mean, Loz, you say you would love a British military chat. Loz, what I'll do, me and you'll have a conversation, because maybe we just invite you on, Loz, and we can have a conversation about it. Because I guarantee, Loz, you probably know more about the actual British military than I do, but I might be able to fill gaps in for actual historical stuff. So Loz has put in, the phrase was, nothing is as scary as a little man with a big knife and a smile. They had the kukri and could sneak up, and you only knew they were there when it ran across your throat. So the kukri is a scary weapon, really scary. It's not a spoon. So yeah, so they were really feared combatants. But yeah, maybe we me and Loz, I'll have a chat with you. It won't be today, Loz, because I've been working all day and I'm really tired. But maybe we invite you on and have an extended conversation. Would you boys be interested in that?
Yes.
Yeah, an extended conversation. Okay, right. We'll book that in for another time. Right. So now that I've made your brains melt after talking about Afghanistan so much, so I want to go on to a lighter note. Where's my thing? There's my thing. Right. So next month is going to the Northampton Pride Festival is going ahead. So they're going to be doing a Pride parade down the top of Abingdon Street and end up in the Market Square. So it's happening on 12th, I want to say. Yeah, Sunday the 12th of September from 11 till 4. So what I might actually do, I might be away, but what I might do is possibly see if we can organise, and we might go down. Maybe get Parker, see if Parker's involved, and we'll go down and possibly see if we can get some interviews to share on Free2talk TV. All right. So if anyone is interested in that, obviously it'd just be a nice event to celebrate Pride. You've already been to Owen, you've been to the gay pub, basically, effectively in Northampton already. So which do you know what? I hate calling it the gay pub though.
It's just what it's the stereotypically called. That's what you call it.
It's
the stereotype of it. But
I went there. I like it. It's not bad at all, is it?
Nightclubs isn't my general aesthetic as it is anyway. But in there, I didn't feel like I was hammered around by other people attracted to the same of their own sex. I was perfectly fine in there, to be honest.
Fine with it.
I think it's great. I agree with you. I don't know why people aesthetic it to be that type of place.
Yeah, so it's all a bit weird and wonderful.
You
get some real characters.
What you're talking about.
That's fine, Richard, because you're not old enough. You're not old enough to drink yet, are you? So close your ears, Richard. Close your ears.
You've got one more year to do.
I've already accidentally showed a video with some swearing in it. So I'll get a slap on my wrist for that. At least it wasn't me. It makes a difference. So I think, because I've melted everyone's brains, I just want to bring that up. We'll skip the other thing that I was going to talk about, and we'll just kind of pull it to an end and talk about something we want to share that has made us happy this week. So, Owen, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going first. So I've come back from Soft. So I've come back from my uncle's. So yeah, it's a bit sad, but it's nice to go home. Tomorrow I'm going down to Birmingham to this old Victorian type of village. Yeah. So it's like a enclosed area of like Victorian housing and Victorian dresswear and Victorian like speaking as well. So it would be quite nice to get that sort of feel. I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. I won't be driving because my arm is going to be absolutely dead. But that's fine.
Yeah, you better check how you feel in the morning from having the vaccine, because like Connor had it and it knocked him out a bit. It was like the Walking Dead, like walking around like a zombie for a bit.
See, I've had COVID already, like a very minor case of it. I just lost my taste and smell, but I do feel that now I had that, I feel a little bit more protected when I got my vaccines, because the vaccine has it a little bit. So I had a little bit of an immunity already towards it. So I don't think I'll be too bad. I think the only thing I'll do, I'll have a sore arm. So when I had my first vaccine, I could still lift my arm up right here. And yet I can already feel a little bit pain now. Ow.
Stop doing it. Stop doing it.
No, it wasn't that bad. It's not that bad. It's like I just got a little pinch. That's all. That was all it was. And actually, to be perfectly honest, the pain that I'm feeling in my arm right now, that pinch hurt more.
Right.
Can I just add one more thing just quickly?
Yeah, of course you can.
I'm also looking forward to playing Dungeons and Dragons with you, James. I've been
waiting
we'll get so to do long
that
for
next
it.
week. You have been waiting so long, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you will enjoy it. So yeah, so Jack and Charlotte are still loving it, still having a great time. So you'll be able to join in for 2 sessions because we're gonna have one next week and the week after if you're available.
yeah.
If you have not gone to college yet, but yeah, so that's all going ahead. Excellent. Right, Richard, what's
I need
yours?
to create my character though.
Yes, I'm gonna book that in for Monday.
Yay. Okay, I'm happy.
Cool.
I know what I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to now.
Richard, what about you?
I've just been watching a lot of movies this week with my friends.
Anything that's
real.
been really good that you particularly liked that I haven't seen before?
I didn't see the 2 Ted movies. I watched them and they were fun.
Which ones?
Ted.
Oh, Ted. Yeah, Ted.
Ted.
Yeah, Ted is funny. Yeah, Ted is funny. But aren't you too young for Ted? Isn't it an 18?
15.
Is it a 15?
I think it's a 15.
I'm actually gonna check now.
Yeah, better check now. Do it live.
+17.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll let you off this once.
I got away with it.
You got away with it,
That's
just.
fine. Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to actually. I mean, I still haven't been to the cinema yet. I need to make a plan to actually do it maybe next month. I don't even care what I see. I just want to see something and eat popcorn, and popcorn that's really expensive and cost me a kidney or something.
Next month is Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings from Marvel. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, I kind of fancy it. I kind of like the sound of it.
I'm really intrigued with it. I'm really intrigued. Yeah, I've still not watched the Disney Plus TV shows of Marvel just yet. I'm still intrigued for.
They're good. I mean, I like them. They are good. I found them.
I
really
need to
enjoyable.
actually officially watch them. I need to.
Right, so I've got 2 happy things. So my first one was on Sunday. I had one of my favourite pies ever, which is from a manufacturer called Moo. They're just Moo pies, and they make some of the best pies I've ever had. So pie and veg. But yesterday, one of my friends who was actually on the chat, Simon and I went and played a tabletop game in a tournament.
Ooh.
For that, the Star Wars models that I've been painting. So
Yeah.
I took them, played an opponent for the first time, learnt the game, and guess how I did, boys? Guess how I did?
Lost
How
in
did
the
you
first
do?
round.
I lost. Yeah, I lost. I did lose. Yeah, I lost, but not badly. I didn't get stomped. I just kind of lost because I was learning the rules, but it was fine. My opponent was really fun with it. Although I still reckon that he had loads of opportunities to cheat, and if I was him, I might have taken them. So, like, oh no, you can't do that. Oh, okay, yeah, because maybe I'm just a bit too trusting. So he could have got away with it, and I wouldn't noticed. But yeah, it was lovely. Played with some little models because I'm a kid. Anyway, thanks to everyone that's come on and commented. So we've had Leanne, Kevin, Connor, Simon, Chris, and Lawrence on. Owen and Richard, thank you so much. I'm sorry I melted your brain so much with a very difficult subject. But yeah, this is what Free2talk TV is about. It's about difficult subjects, melting young people's brains, and making you think. So tough.
Yes. Yes, indeedy.
Yes, indeedy. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Everyone say bye to the stream. Bye, stream.
Bye-bye.